Okay, the weekly affirmation. I stretch beyond limits and embrace expansive potential. I stretch beyond limits and embrace expansive potential. And going deep inside, we're knowing that our work is already done because we are aligned with spirit, aligned with the life force, the divine energy, the divine light of life. And knowing this, we expand our potential. We are one with the flow of life. And this flow gives us energy and life and knowing and more and more and more love and life. And knowing this, we release this word into the law, knowing that it is already done. And so it is.
And so it is. And now we have our minister of today. There's some changes on the menu today. There's some changes, minor changes. Reverend Alan David Young here to give us the inspirational message for today.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank us for being here. It's a wonderful day. I'm going to may go back and forth with the mic. Sometimes my voice is low and I may use the mic, but it's coming back, so I may not use it as much. Today, we're talking about the title of this talk, which is Choosing Possibility. And it's a talk about choices that open doors to unlimited possibilities, unlimited opportunities. That's what we're going to talk about today. So let's begin with the gifts of science of mind, the gifts to new thought, and basically some of the limits of new thoughts. We often think about the gifts, but not so much the limits. We have both things going on. The greatest gift to new thought from science of mind is really spiritual mind treatments. Everyone in New Thought knows about that and talks about that. That's our great gift. New Thought believes in New Thought. We believe in the infinite nature and availability of the law, availability of the divine to everything. In New Thought, we believe that the divine is everywhere and occupies every space and every variation, good, bad, or ugly, the divine is in. The limitations of New Thought generally is too much theory and not enough practice. Too much theory and not enough practice. The stuff we can't prove in general may or may not be true. But if we can prove it, it is true. And just because we think something is true doesn't mean it's true. Just because we believe something is true doesn't mean it's true. We should be able to prove it to ourselves and to other people. In short, the only thing we know really is the stuff that we can prove and have evidence for. That's the real truth. Everybody hear me pretty good? Okay. I may use this, but I'll see how it goes. Now, the divine flows through us and flows through everything on the planet. That's the nature of the divine. The divine is the potential and possibility of all human actions. And its power must flow through us in order to be manifested. Spiritual mind treatments are actually a mental entity, and they live in a mental world. However, we allow and invite spirit to flow through that mental entity to give us healings and to increase our powers on earth and to heal us. It turns out that if we don't believe in spiritual mind treatments, it's going to have much less power than if we believe in it. That's true of all prayer. We need to believe in prayer, have faith in it in order to be healed by it in general. Now, we don't put power into spiritual mind treatments, but we do allow it to flow through spiritual mind treatments by inviting spirit to do so. And those who believe in this power will get the most results. Because science of mind operates according to the law of cause and effect, we need to pray until we get some result. Pray until something happens. And if something hasn't happened yet, you continue to pray. The happening may not be what you want, but pray until something happens. Now, let me delve a little bit into this idea of too much theory and too little practice. Thinking about science of mind, thinking about prayer, reading about prayer, writing about prayer is valuable. But the real value comes through practicing those things, not just reading about them. To truly engage with the law, we need to go beyond theory and apply our understanding and apply our beliefs as best we can. We need to fill our minds with love, with possibility, with joy, with truth, and then step back and see how the law is working out. The constant application of divine laws invites us invites us into unlimited possibilities. Now I want to talk about what can we do to really encourage these possibilities to exist. And there's two things that stand out to begin with. I'll talk about this as I go on beyond this, but it's what I call positive envy and negative envy. Those two things. Clearly, if we're negative about something, we're not going to get as good a results as if we're positive about something. But I'm specifically talking about positive envy, which expands our choices and expands our opportunities. Envy of others can be a role model, and it can actually expand our awareness, because if we're envious of someone in a positive way, it's a high-powered motivator for us to do the same thing they're doing, the things that we're envious about. Seeing someone succeed can inspire us. If you have a good teacher somewhere along in your life, it can inspire you to work a little harder and to raise your goals a little higher and to strive for more improvements in your life. Why? Because there's a role model in front of you that has already done that. Positive envy can be a wake-up call for us to examine our own life in some way and identify areas of growth and changes that we would like to make, just because we've seen a positive role model. Positive envy can lead to admiration of another person's accomplishments and inspire us to learn from their example and even ask if they can be a guide or a teacher for us. Seeing someone else's success can generally lead us closer to our own goals. Simply put, positive envy inspires us to lead toward and lean toward what is possible for us. Now, in addition to positive envy, the other side is negative envy. Not so hot, but we do have negative envy. We don't want it, but we do have it. What is negative envy? Well, we have a 10th commandment. There's 10 commandments. The last commandment, the 10th commandment, is all about negative envy. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's spouse. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet. A better word than covet is envy. So thou shalt not be envious of what someone else has. But basically that commandment says, the 10th commandment basically says, is defined as envy of wanting something another person has or wishing that they didn't have it. And we do that from time to time. We don't admit it, but sometimes we do that. And that's the nature of the 10th commandment. Exploring a little bit more, the negative envy refers to unpleasant emotions. Unpleasant emotions. Emotions that come from comparing ourselves to other people and finding them to be superior in some way. That's negative envy. And we do that a lot of times in competitive activities. I want to beat that person. I want to do better than that person. Negative envy is often refers to unpleasant emotions that come from comparing ourselves, as I said, to others. It comes from focusing on external comparisons. Mainly, we see someone else do something, we want to do it just like them, or maybe even better than them. And if we can't, we kind of beat ourselves up. It makes us feel inferior and blocks genuine fulfillment and genuine joy when we have negative envy. Aristotle defines negative envy as the pain caused by someone else's good fortune. Oh, God, that's true. In truth, we can never be a carbon copy of another person, no matter who we are. Why? Because the law of the universe says and tells us that God doesn't make anything the same. Everything that comes into existence is different than everything else. It may look the same, but they're exactly no identical things. We all have different genes. We come on the planet at different times. We have different star charts. Everything is different about us, although we look at it and say, I want to be just like so-and-so. But we can't be. The law of the universe says, basically the law is that God doesn't make duplicates. Being competitive, as I mentioned, and comparing ourselves to others often leads to low self-esteem, leads to depression, leads to feeling that I'm just not good enough. Why should I try? Now, there are some ways to overcome the limitations of envy. I'll outline a couple of them, but this is not a complete list, but just to give us an idea. We can cultivate gratitude and appreciate the stuff that we have going for ourselves. Gratitude for our own unique gifts, which we all have. Everyone's path is different. And we should be thankful for the path that we're on and try to celebrate the milestones that we achieve little by little ones or big ones, and focus on our own journey. We can use the success of others as inspiration to pursue our own goals. We can look beyond appearances. In fact, we should look beyond appearances. It's a good, healthy thing to do. And know that joy doesn't come from looking at others. Joy comes from within us. That's where true joy comes from. Using our own gifts for the betterment of ourselves and others is the way to go. And the more we can do that, the more we can overcome the limitations of envy, specifically negative envy. And it's good to be inspired by other people and other situations, but not to be threatened by them, which sometimes we are. Now, let me outline a few keys to making good choices that open us to more and more opportunities. What are some of these keys? Well, if we can combine self-awareness with intentionality and with a willingness to embrace the unknown, we're well on our way. If we can combine those three things, we're well on our way. Self-awareness, intentionality, and a willingness to embrace the unknown, which is not, maybe that's the most difficult one. We like to be in our comfort zone. Now, we can cultivate an interest in learning what truly matters and what makes us feel and come alive. That's where the real juice is. The more we feel alive, doing what we want to do, what makes us happy, the better off we are. We don't want to do what someone else says do. We could, but ultimately we want to do, the world needs people that really want to do what they want to do, not so much to what other people tell them to do. We can identify with our strengths. We should learn to identify our strengths and weaknesses, and maybe we should learn to develop new skills if we don't have certain skills that we should have. We can recognize our limited beliefs, our negative thoughts, and assumptions that hold us back from achieving our goals. Generally speaking, if we believe we're not good enough, we can simply challenge that belief by saying, what if I am good enough? I know I said I believe I'm not good enough, but what if I am? And say that over and over and over. Okay. Now, Howard Thurman, one of my favorite mystics, said, what's possible is often required for us in order to achieve what's possible. It's often required of us to pester God. He uses the word pester. Pester God for affirmations that allow us to shift our thinking. I think when he said that, I was actually in a class with him, one of the last classes he did. And he's been going a pretty good while. It was a long time ago. But he actually said, pester God with your affirmations. Pester God will help you change your thinking. So repeating affirmations can reinforce the mental pathways that align our expectations with divine laws. Embracing affirmations can allow us to make positive things happen, to make positive possibilities as a natural part of our thought process and as a natural part of our experience. To shift the way we think, we can use affirmations like, there is possibility in this situation. There is possibility in this project. There is possibility in my life. There's possibility right here. And I'm open to it, dear divine. I'm open to it over and over and over. It's something that's going to happen positive. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, and everybody could use that as an affirmation, we should also define what success means, not just I want to be successful. Well, how do you want to be successful? We can get more specific than just successful or prosperous or loving or some other affirmation. Explore the answers to the questions. Two questions are really important. And that is, number one, who am I? A, and B, what do I really want? Who am I and what do I really want? And they almost have to be answered in that order. Who are you? Who am I first? And then what do I really want second? You know, you could switch the order around, but in general, it's good to know who you are first. Now, what we really want is honored by the divine if we're clear about what we really want. If we know what we want and we pursue what we want, we're going to get what we want. But if what we want is kind of fuzzy and all over the board, it's going to be a hit and miss kind of proposition. If we say yes to our vision in general, the resources to attain it are going to move us forward and toward that vision. Growth and development flow toward us because we become focused on one thing. Or when we're focused on one thing, growth and possibilities move toward us. If we're focused on a whole lot of stuff and no one thing in particular, nothing is going to really manifest as great in a great way. As we learned from recent presentations, life is not fixed. Life is not frozen. Even the ground we stand on is not solid. We think it's solid. It looks solid. But if we live long enough, this ground won't even be here. We could think back several thousand years ago, millennia, this wasn't even here. So the ground shifts, but in God's time, it flows. Everything is flowing. Everything is changing. God moves into and out of forms all the time. Everything we see right here, unfortunately, will just not be here 100 years from now. None of us will exist. It won't even take that long. Now, when we reach the place where we can talk, when all we talk about, all we think about, all we dream about, all we go to bed with thinking about, all we wake up thinking about, everything we do and everything we want is the same thing over and over and over, we're going to become very, very successful. And the whole universe is going to support us. Why? Because we become one with that thing. If we think about it over and over and over, wake up, go to bed, we reach a place where all of that is one and the whole universe literally fully supports us. But that's what it takes. A simple way of saying that is what we think about, we become. What we think about, we become. We've heard that expression, but what that means is don't just think about it. Do something about it all the time. Wake up about it all the time. Dream about it. Beyond thinking. Then we really become that one thing. We can become surrounded by positive people and supportive people who will influence our mindset and opportunities. That's what will happen when we continue to focus on the one thing. Most of the great people in life, that's exactly what they do. They wake up and go to bed all the time thinking about that one thing over and over. It could be anything, but it's what you really want is the important thing. Now, it's important to get in touch with what you really want and but in order to do that, you have to trust your intuitions because it's kind of a fuzzy thing. What do I really want? And it's a fuzzy thing to define who am I? That's not a real clear statement. I don't think anyone could totally define who they really are. We can get close to it. For example, and we need to also trust our intuitions and our gut feelings. Intuitions guide us toward the right choices even when they don't make logical sense. Now, when it comes to defining who we are, for example, some of us know that we're an introvert or an extrovert, or we're a thinking type or a feeling type. But when we really drill down, what does that really mean to us? How do we really define that? Well, it gets a little bit fuzzy, but the more we think about it, the clearer it becomes. Some of us know our astrology sign. I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a that. Or some of us have had an astrology chart reading. But I guarantee you, even if you had a reading, you still can't understand all the things in that chart. Even if you know your sign, you don't know everything about that sign. You have to think about it, use your intuition. What does it really mean? How does that fit for me? How does that make me who I am? And then you become more and more clear about who you are. But the next step is, what do I really want? And it's usually two important questions, even when you answer that. And that is, where am I going in life? Who's going with me? Where am I going? Who's going with me? Which one is more important for you? They're both important, but for some people, who's going with me is really the most important question. For others, where am I going is really the most important question. They're both important questions, but usually one has a little priority over the other, and that plays a role. If we have a strong feeling that we should pursue a particular opportunity, even if it's risky, we should trust our intuitions and insights and at least explore that opportunity further. By consistently making choices that align with our values, our goals, our intuitions, we can fill our life with unlimited possibilities, unlimited. When we keep our focus on possibilities and not limitations, we attract positive energy and open doors to new opportunities. We should acknowledge the limits of our current knowledge and not assume that because we understand something, we understand it completely and sufficiently. We should always be open to new possibilities. Now, I'm just about it to close, but what I want to close with is a couple of thoughts about ways to embrace playfulness in our spiritual life. We have someone that's going to help us do that shortly. Embrace some playfulness in our spiritual life. There's no fixed way to do this. There's no one answer to how to be playful in your spiritual life and with the love of God and the love of life. It goes a long way to have love of life and love of God. But there's being playful in spirituality even makes it more fun to be on your spiritual journey. Spirit is always ready to invite us to stretch beyond our limits and beyond the familiar and into the unknown when we can play and allow things to unfold. When we set our sights on goals we believe are achievable, we can ask, we can pray, and move toward things beyond our current expectations. Playfulness can be expressed in many forms. It can be expressed in dance. It can be expressed in art. It can be expressed in painting. It can be expressed in the Chinese New Year's. We're going to have a celebration very shortly. Our leader is getting ready. Reverend Elliotte's getting ready to lead us in a whole dance, a whole program. By embracing possibilities beyond our understanding, we can unlock levels of creativity and innovation and growth. The only limit is what? Our imagination. And finally, while the ways of embracing possibilities are beyond our existing knowledge, they are unlimited and include basically embracing the power of prayer. Now I'm going to close this, but I want you to go within for a moment of treatment before Elliotte takes over. So if you would, I invite you to put your attention on that quiet place. Put your attention on your heart and breathe into it. And breathe out through your heart. Into your heart and out to your heart, through your heart. There's only one of us here. We're all connected. And it's a great spirit. And we would say, oh, great spirit, earth, sky, sun, and sea, you are inside and all around me. Dear Father, Mother God, is everywhere present. How sacred is thy nature and comforting thy presence. We accept and invite your spirit and that your will is being done through us and that we can do thy will. We are connected with a great spirit, a great God, and that makes us great. just by that connection. We accept that connection in all that we do. And as we move through this service, I accept that each of us are blessed by simply being here, and we're blessed in our lives beyond being here. The blessings and love are one and connected thing. And I am blessed, except that we are in spirit hugging one another, for hugs are healing. And in your mind, you can hug as many people as you would like and receive as much healing as you can embrace. And so simply with a grateful word, I say, thank you, God, for this service. Thank you for everyone for being here. Thank you for all that has taken place and everything that's about to unfold and take place before our very eyes that we will participate in. And with that, you can join me by simply saying, and so it is.
And so it is.
Amen. I'd like to invite Elliotte. Maybe that wasn't clear. To do her thing, and we're going to simply participate. She's going to be our leader, and you want to be participants. Elliotte?
I'm waiting for the sound.
Okay.
Is it gone? Has he gone?
It's over there.
Where? Ah, humans! Humans! Did you see what came out of there? It was a monster. It was a, you know, in the Chinese language or the legend, that creature had a name. His name was Nian. Yeah. Can you say that? Yeah. Because it was such an awful creature. We want to say that word with a little bit of veracity, right? Nian. Come on. When you say that, then you think, well, I heard about the story about Nian. Right? All right. So guess what? Today, I want all of you to be learning something about Lunar New Year. And before it was politically correct, we used to call it Chinese New Year. Yeah. Will you forgive me for a moment? I'm going to say Chinese New Year because this is a tale that I was told as a Chinese growing up about this real story about Chinese New Year. So what story about Chinese? Well, what do you all know about Chinese New Year? What comes to your mind when you hear about Chinese New Year? Anybody? Firecrackers.
Well,
Red envelopes.
Red envelopes. Red envelopes. Yeah. Again, parades and firecrackers and red envelopes and red everywhere. Red everywhere. Ooh. Grumpy John, where's your red? Okay. You'll know soon why some of us have chosen to wear red. Okay. So obviously, if you all want to know about Chinese New Year celebration 101, we do a couple things that have to happen every time. So in case you all don't know, I'll just go list through a list of 5. The top one, which you may or not all know, is the New Year Eve celebration. The New Year Eve dinner. Now, some of you are going to say, wow, we always celebrate the New Year. No. How much festivity do you have on celebrating New Year's Eve, right? Yeah, New Year's Day is like, drank too much, ate too much. No. New Year's Eve. So it turns out the tradition was that New Year Eve is a big deal. What is the big deal? You have to gather all your loved ones for a meal. All your loved ones. So when I grew up, it was a mandatory thing. I don't care if you have a hot date, Beth. I don't care if you want to go and watch the Super Bowl. Well, this is what we're talking about with teenagers. But Beth could still have a hot date. You never know. You never know. So I'm talking about a hot date, that I couldn't go to because it happened to fall on New Year's Eve. See, because that was the rule. Everybody has to be here for that dinner. Keep that in mind, keep that in mind. And tradition has it that dinner has to be vegetarian. Oh, some of you are happy about that. But me, I'm just one Big Mac away from being a vegetarian. Gotta have that hamburger. Gotta have that meat. Yeah, it's true. So here we go. Let's see now. All right, New Year's Eve, you mentioned the firecrackers, the loud noises, the dinner, and then wearing the red envelopes, you say, what does all this mean? So when I was growing up, if I had to sacrifice my date or my Super Bowl, I got to ask my parents, why? What? When I asked them, they all said, tradition. Tradition. Yeah, well, that's not a good enough answer. Usually when your children and your grandchildren say, why do we have to do things that every year they did it? You just say, tradition, you see? Come on. Not good enough for all of us to just accept that as it is. We say, well, so when my kids ask me, why do we have to wear red? Why do we have this firecrackers? Why the dragon parade? Why have to have dinner? It has to be vegetarian. I decided to do my own research. I got to find out why. When I found out why, it was so valuable. Therefore, all of you are going to learn what Chinese New Year was behind it. So, for example, it turns out that the story of the Chinese New Year is a very dark tale. And so when I'm having to tell the story, wearing red, sorry, this is a very sad tale. And if I gotta tell it to you, I am indeed in my proper attire. Okay, so what is the story? The story was that long time ago, 4,720 years to be exact, China was not a populous country. Come on, huge country like that, hardly anybody. Well, a couple of things you need to know. The whole land itself, 10% is arable. The rest of it, you just can't grow anything on it. So here's this huge country with just barely able to have people, Well, you could say it is due to the primitive farming instruments that they have, and then there was famine, then followed by flood. So floods and famine and primitive tools. But my friends, the real story behind why the population was so limited and small was because of that creature named that monster cat that comes out every year and just devours everything in sight. So, what to do? What about this creature? You've heard stories about that. Really, really creepy. Someone would say, I saw it. It had eyes that were just huge, bulging out of caverns, and some people say, I remember that it had fangs, and I remember it had these plates that ran throughout his whole long body, almost like metal plates, armor plates. And it had a tail that could whip around and strike with perfect accuracy. It had these muscular legs. At the end of it were talons, so strong. Every village that has something to report, has something to say about a horrible creature, horrible creature. It may be a little bit different in this portion, or maybe a bit different portion, but the story was the same as far as its tragic result, carnage. Year after year after year, your loved ones disappear, or their remains, you see. It's because this creature will roam throughout the whole land to look for its supper. So therefore, this creature that's coming out, starting screen. Now, some of you are very skeptic and go, this mythical creature. There's no such thing. Well, for those of you who are a little bit skeptical, there were things like lions and tigers and wolves, and then we're talking about 4,000 years ago. You don't have your AK, whatever it is, you are just there with yourself, going to the fields to get your farming done. And so thereafter, so year after year after year, all these people were just being gone. You never know. So finally, one village says, hey, stop this. Can we look a little bit into what we heard in the sermon today about exploring the possibilities? Huh? Do we have to go there? Please, God, please, heaven, don't let it come this year. Did that work? What do we say about you could treat, but you better move your feet? Oh, I remember that lesson. Yeah, you can't just be praying about it. You have to think of the possibility. You have to think. So finally, one village, the village of CSLP, said, hey, let's get together. Mandy, what should we do? Huh? Wendy, you're just a brilliant person. Come up with some idea. Nola says, I do know about animals. The bees, that you call them. Okay, Gigi, do you have any idea? Well, scare off animals. Gigi says, now loud noises. Loud noises. That's a good idea. When that creature starts to come out, oh, FYI, like some creatures, they are the ones that hibernate. So they go to sleep, and then a year later, they'll come out of hibernation. Thank goodness, because this creature that hibernates, that means you get at least 364 days of respite before Nian comes out. Reverend Allen, you got 364 days to prepare. What are you going to do with your village of CSLP? Come on, you guys, we're going to have a meeting. We're going to figure out what to do. So someone already said, thank you, Gigi, noisemaker. So I want you to prepare and have a noisemaker. Oh, Mandy, you're in charge of the noise. And some of you are saying, wait a minute, I don't have anything to prepare. I don't have, okay, Gigi. You could have your noisemaker too. All right. Oh, Linda, Reverend Linda, she brought her own noisemaker. Yeah, that's true, okay? And whoever you are, you might have some instrument in your house, but what do you have in front of you? Richard, you have a fork and a knife, you can go boom, 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 boom on that noisemaker. Oh, that's already good. All right, check. Noise. Animals are afraid of noise. What else? Whoa. I got more ideas coming. What else do we know about the animals? They are really agitated by the color red. You've read that, haven't you? Agitated, dogs don't see anything, but they see red. Bulls, oh my goodness, I remember red. Ole! How do you agitate that bull? Better find some red something. Red outfit. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. Get your red out. Get your red out. But that's not enough. That's enough. Because when that creature comes out and roams the village, you better have red everywhere. What do we do? I've got red banners, everywhere. But the Chinese, they just don't want to just have anything. They want to have things that have meaning on there. So they put the banners up. Did you notice they always put something on there? Yeah, they have the word gong, which means wish, wish. Okay, so when that happens, we want to be able to have some humans to be able to have, all right, so Mandy, I want you to throw this up when the creature comes after you've done your noise, the word gong, which means wish. But what do you wish? Hey, hey, what does hey mean? It means happiness. Whoa, Wendy, you're in charge of happiness. Whoa, Wendy says, I need some of that. Okay, whoa, but we need to have somebody who's in charge of fatness. Oh, no, 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 sorry. It's just the pronunciation. Fat, fat means to burst, flourish, okay? All right, John, nothing personal, but you get to be in charge of fat. Oh, okay, don't take it personally. All right, okay. The family, we have not only have bursting with happiness, we also demand that we want joy, prosperity. Anybody want prosperity, which is another word for abundance? Ask me about abundance later on, okay? So joy. Nola, you're in charge of abundance. Whoa. Whoa. Yeah. So now you sort of have the idea that when this creature starts to coming out and we want to reenact something that historically has been true, you know, this is what we wish people every year. We have hang banners with that, we have noisemakers, and then finally you'll say, what else do we have to think about? You mentioned that the meal, and I call it the Last Supper. You know why. Before you came up with these brilliant ideas, poor Uncle so-and-so, he was there one day, the next day you go there, where's Uncle Jim? Okay, you know, and how about I feel like having Mexican food. Pardon me? Ah, she might not be there if Nian likes Mexican food. Don't worry, I'm going to be DEI. I'm very inclusive. Sometimes they want Chinese food. Richard! Yeah. Right. Oh, Filipino food. I don't know. Okay, it's not healthy for you. All that adobo is made out of meat. So you do know that. So the reason why, here's the reason why. Animals are very, very sensitive to smell. Miles and miles away. So the deal is, we're going to make a deal. For all this time, right toward the end of the year, when the Nian's going to come out, I don't want you to slaughter any animals. No slaughtering of animals. But what about my food? We'll learn to cook vegetarian. Can I even make food that's different? A vegetarian's in the audience, can you? Absolutely. So what do you want to do? Come on. How about feeding that beast vegetable? Yeah. Gigi, you remember when the beast come, you feed it some vegetable. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You say, but someone says greens are better for you. Richard, you don't like broccoli, but come on, eat your broccoli. Yeah. Okay. But you've seen at the parade, they always have this big fat head of lettuce, don't they? You know, that's really kind of representative of all. So come on, Reverend Allen, you're the head of the lettuce. You're the head here. He gives the head of lettuce, you know. And those of you who are sitting there go, whoa, this is participation, you know. I'm getting, all right, Beth, you get some bok choy. You get some bok choy. And Wendy says, what up, Mommy? All right, Wendy, you get to have some bok choy as well. Okay. Reverend Linda brought her own stuff. Look, she's got an apple, she's got a carrot, she's got and she's got, yeah, Organic, okay? Yeah, John's in there going, I don't like my vegetable. Ah, okay. John, you gotta have a bok choy. John has to eat his vegetables too. There's lunch, yeah. So you all now know checklist, you know, noisemaker, wear red, hang red signs everywhere, have vegetable. Cause you imagine if this creature comes out, you know, and he starts to eat, and pretty soon, that was fine. Just go on to the next village. So speaking of village, you heard what Reverend Allen said. We need to share. You had that as parents, didn't you? You have to share. So CSLP allow all the other villages to know what they discovered. We've got this way for you to deal with this beast. So can you imagine if all the CSLP or if San Mateo and Foster City and Redwood City all got the message? When this creature comes out, it goes to CSLP at Hobie, eats, get kind of full, and then goes to the Foster City, gets more full, gets to San Francisco, gets really full. The end of his out of hibernation, he is like, that was good. I'm going back and sleep because I'm suffering from food coma. Did that ever happen to anybody? You betcha. Food coma. Okay, so now you do know why on New Year's Eve, all the families have to gather, you know, and they all need to have their noisemakers ready, have the red outfits on, the red banners, okay? So, and then this is like before, but afterwards, just to let you know, afterwards, they have to wear new outfit, definitely red if you want to, and go visit all the relatives. Because you know what? Head count. Let's see who survived this year's tragedies, illnesses, disasters. And when we see if you've done your job correctly and got all the stuff prepared, thinking of ideas that really, really works, you know, and come up with these as a community. Do you see a very important message behind Chinese New Year? Get together with your loved ones. Use your combined intelligence. And then move. Come up with solutions. Don't just go, oh, I'm so envious of them. I'm so envious of that. You know, I mean, there's also negative envy, which we all suffer for a while. Oh my God, this thing is eating up everybody. This disaster happened everywhere, you know, poor human beings, you know. Did you get the memo? All right, January 1st, a new year is gonna happen. And before that happens, you are all responsible. Because when I bring that dragon or monster back up again, I need a couple things to happen. And you're gonna do it on cue, because when it comes out, first of all, you're gonna feed it. No. First of all, you better have some noise, okay, noisemaker. Then you do something like you feed it. And then afterwards, we're gonna have these words that goes with our red banners that wish us what? Happiness, prosperity. How much of that? On cue now. All right, let me see if you can get into the spirit. It is now New Year's Eve, and the creature just came out of his cave, and it is hungry. It is emaciated. Whole year of not eating. Finally, when it comes out, and on cue, Joe. Yeah. you so much for all of you contributed to avoid an annual tragedy. Does that make sense now? That this is what's really behind the Chinese New Year story. It's not just the parade and firecrackers, it's the noisemaker. You know what it is. But most of all, that vegetarian, that one last meal that we together. This is how we're going to start the new year. Because you heard the message from us that instead of just give up, and seeing all the tragedies that used to happen to us, we said we can do something about it. And what we could do something with, we could do it as a community. None of you are alone. Every effort you have made that has come to some success fruition has been because you found your tribe, you found your team. And so therefore, CSLP is hoping that we're trying to prosper this church again that has been gone through a lot of tragedies and things that had devoured our spirit, our funds and livelihood. So therefore, our first gesture in starting this new year is to have what they call abundance wishing. So definitely, I'm going to put my red back on because on the New Year's, when I'm able to finally come out, I'm looking around and I'm seeing, for the first time, oh my gosh, John, you're still here. Oh, I was so worried that for the Last Supper, it was going to be the supper of Nian, and I'm so glad. Mandy, nobody ate you either. Wendy, she'll make a good snack, you see, So what I mean, yeah. What do we have here for CSLP? We have also a wish for abundance, and as a symbol of abundance, you need to go to the prosperity queen, the abundance queen.
Oh.
Yes, Nola is going to share her role as the prosperity queen with our abundance queen. And who is that? Camera, please zero in on Reverend Linda, and look what she has here. She has a plate full of red envelopes. Red envelopes, okay? A little mention about the red envelope. It's traditionally it is given in pairs. Okay. So what do you mean by giving in pair? For example, why do we have to give things in pair? Because we never wish anybody to be alone. Things are always given in two, okay? So if you're going to give one and it has $1, you better give two for $2, okay? But if you're kind of saying, I want to be safe, use one envelope. And what are they put in there? $2. $2, you see? And when I had to give a talk to a whole bunch of kids, and there were 50 kids there, 50 times $2. Whoa, that's a problem, huh, Mandy? Yeah, instead, I put 2 nickels. Hey, it's a pair.
Yeah.
2 nickels, you see? Well, our abundance queen, Reverend Linda, has prepared the envelope. And in each envelope, there are, I know for sure, 2 of something. 2 of something. So don't be greedy and grab 2, okay? Don't get 2 envelopes, get 1 envelope, and it goes with a treat if you want. So candy is a good thing, money is a good thing, but definitely she has prepared a red envelope for all of you who are attending. However, for you to get it, you need to say the following mantra. You have to say, 恭喜恭喜. That means wishing or congratulate and congratulate, that's Mandarin. If you want to say it in Cantonese, it's 恭喜恭喜. But I'm Mandarin, I'm part Cantonese too. So 恭喜恭喜, and you do like this. 恭喜恭喜, okay? But following our CSL tradition, we often have to say, 恭喜恭喜, abundance is ours. 恭喜恭喜, abundance is ours, okay? So at the end of our talk, if you do want the goodies, you need to go to our abundance queen, Reverend Linda, and get your goodie bag. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna give it back to your wonderful moderator, who's gonna help you finish today's celebration. Woo-hoo!
Yes, gushy, gushy. Thank you, Elliot. We're on to a good start of 2025, right? With our pairs, our envelopes of abundance. And talking about abundance, I will invite our practitioner Susan Wilkinson to lead us into the giving information. Adelante, Susan.
Thank you, Carmina. So repeat with me. I bless this gift with all my love. As I give, I embody prosperity and abundance, knowing I am fully supported by the universe. This is a symbol of my love and gratitude. It does great work in the world and returns to me easily, effortlessly, and often.
Yeah. Thank you, Susan. And there is many ways that you can give to our Center for Spiritual Living Peninsula. One of them is the website. You see the donate button to cslpeninsula.org. We also have a PayPal account, which is the cslpeninsula@gmail.com. We also have Zelle from your bank to cslpeninsula@gmail.com. And if you choose to write us a check, please send it to CSL Peninsula, P.O. Box 3243, Berkeley, California, 94703.
Or in person. Right?
In
person.
Oh, yes, in person. We have the basket, which will be passed in a few minutes. Yes, you can give in person and, of course.
You can empty your red envelopes right in here. That's fine.
Yes. Thank you. We have our music, which is the happenings.
Music?
Yeah, music for the donations. Joe, thank you, Joe. They're excited.
Motion is good. That's right.
Well, Joe, you can actually show that full video. While we're donating. Can somebody, say the email again, please?
Oh, the email is CSL Peninsula @gmail.com. And we use that email for the PayPal, Zelle, or any donations from the bank.
Thank you. Thank you. Email?
Got it?
So
Linda?
grateful.
Yeah.
CSL.
So I wanna say thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing day. this healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends.
Thank you. And now I would like to invite Susan Wilkinson to do the blessing of the tithes and offerings, as well as how to send a prayer request.
Thank you, Carmina. We bless our gifts with all our heart and mind, knowing that God gives us and we receive. It is the law of circulation. As we give, we also receive. Knowing this, we receive with gratitude and grace all the gifts and blessings and prayer requests. Of knowing that we are blessed beyond measure, knowing that our wonderful abundance comes from our life and our understanding that God is always with us. And knowing this, we receive and bless. You can also send a prayer request at cslpeninsula@gmail.com. And I'm sending the basket around for prayer requests as well as for donations. Remember, we are so grateful to be here today. So grateful for Elliotte for understanding even more about Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year. So grateful for everyone who's here. Thank you for coming. Amanda, thank you for coming. Wendy, thank you for coming. Nola, thank you for coming. Gigi, and thank you for everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, thank you. Do we have any other announcements? No.
There's a dream class coming up in about 10 days for anyone who might like to participate. And it's a chance to go to school and learn from your higher self while your body is asleep. And you get to take all kind of classes and different kind of dreams. They come to you at night and help us to become more awake during the evening. And the time is supposed to be from 8:30 to 10, but Susan asked me if I could shift it to start at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I like to see that.
So it'll be from 9 to 10:30 for those who would like to participate. Here it is on the screen, and I'll be leading it, this dream group, discussion group. And we dream every night, as you know. We don't always listen to them or catch them, but we can learn to do so. We learn a lot about what's going on with our higher selves. So that's my announcement.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Reverend Allen. And our next gathering will be Sunday, February the 9th. And welcome to come back, Amanda, Wendy, Nolan, and everyone else. Thank you. And it would be at the same place, same time.
Oh, online on February 2nd.
Online, we also have the Zoom number, which is, we have it on chat. Joe, the Zoom number, and we will be via Zoom the other Sundays. And also, this year for 2025, many of you know that I am the treasurer for the Center for Spiritual Living Peninsula, and I am giving the intentional giving cards. If you did not get one, I'm still, you just come to me and kindly, let me know what would be your sharing your abundance, your financial abundance, knowing that it will come back to you 3 times or 4 times or 70,000 times more to you. And like Elliotte said, abundance comes to you, to Center for Spiritual Living, and to the entire world. So yes, come and see me. Do we have any other announcements? No? Okay, so at this time, I will invite Reverend Allen to give us the closing benediction. Thank you, Reverend.
Let's go within for the closing benediction. Put your attention once again on a quiet place. See if you can just for a few seconds listen to the silence. Take in the stillness of this moment. Just imagine that we're holding hands. And recall that favorite song in Science of Mine. Let there be peace on earth. And let it begin with me. As we close this service, I give thanks for all that has taken place, all that are here, and know that our prayers are being answered by the One. For the One knows the answer to those prayers even before we speak a word. I want to say thank you, Father, Mother God, for all that is and all that is to come. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is.
So it is.
All right. Now we're invited to a delicious meal.
Delicious meal coming up.
Coming up, okay.
And the-
Anybody let them know yet, that we're ready?
I went on hold.
Okay, thanks.
I can have them come in and take our orders if you know what you want.
Yeah, I think we
You
know.
ready?
This-
Let me help you. Curious.